the number one reasons relationships failed and we end up bringing out the worst in our partners is having differences and escalation. It starts to escalate. Basically, as soon as you start to feel I'm not being heard and you say you're not listening to me, that's escalation. It's only downhill from there. If you say you're not listening to me, you're already escalating an issue. If a man feels anger and frustration, he's starting to escalate. Frustration, he's not fully escalating. But if a man's angry, what you have to know, women, is I know you have many of you have these wounded experiences of terrible arguments with men. And you feel like a victim, you feel scared, you feel like you had no control over it, you have no idea why that happened. This wonderful guy who's so loving towards you could become so mean and so cruel. How did that happen? If you don't understand men, then you feel afraid, you feel untrusting, and you're kind of on edge. When could it happen again? And when this happens in my counseling class, I always bring women back to, let's look at that situation and see how you could have avoided that reaction. And they have no idea how they could have avoided that reaction. So it's literally a feeling completely powerless. When you understand why you get what happens to you, particularly when it's not favorable, then it could happen anytime again. The brain will live in fear forever and mistrust and the inability to open heart and accept and appreciate what you have. The brain goes into a fight or flight response from the wounds of the past. And what we want to do is explore those wounds of the past, and you go back to those situations, at least in gender discussion here with a man and you're a woman. You have no idea how you contributed to what just happened. They're so invested in, but I didn't mean to do anything. I was only trying. I was only, trying to improve the relationship by conversation. But he said, I said this and this, but he said that and that. You see, this is very childlike and only keeps you in a place of mistrust along the line. So if you can revisit those difficult times in the past and you go there from the perspective of understanding men, you realize that there was an escalation that took place. So now a man is saying something mean to you. Okay, so I've heard the most amazing things some men will say who are really good guys. When there's a hurricane, these guys will get in a truck and they're out there handing out food to everybody. There's a savior thing. There's a hero thing inside of men. And just as bright and shiny as they can be dark if mismanaged. So the management here is just to understand this concept of escalation. Your number one phrase to de-escalate is, this is not really a big deal. And I just need to say this for you to think about, and you don't have to say anything. Now, why is that so important? If I was talking to men, I'd be explaining to men, if you start to experience any anger and you talk, it only gets worse. Because when you're angry and you're a man, that means your estrogen levels are flaring and your testosterone's going down. You're becoming somebody other than who you are. And what women instinctively do is they think that, all we have to do is talk and then we'll feel better, because talking will produce estrogen and that helps women to feel better. Okay. So talking is now the answer, but actually it's not. The answer is men listening. And if they're good listeners, they can continue to seek to understand rather than to change. Because what women need most is to be understood. If a woman's upset, the charge, the emotional charge, which prevents her to feel relaxed and open and loving and appreciative, that charge is she's needing to feel safe and understood, seen and heard. You don't have to agree with her. See, men think, but I don't agree with her. No, you need to understand where she's coming from in her reality. And then the extra power that you can have to really transform a woman, if you're a man, is to understand her emotions. And that's what men can relate to. If you say, gee, I feel like you're working too much. I don't relate to that. I don't feel like you're working too much. I'd rather, so it's hard for us always to relate and connect with what you're feeling. I feel this belief, as opposed to I feel frustrated when you're so busy. I'd rather spend more time with you because I love you. I just wanted to let you know. It's an FYI. Okay. Just informing. Conversation is informing. But the power there is using emotions. Okay. So now men do not know how to listen to them. Women don't know how to share them without making a man feel wrong. So the first stage in this is on your dating or even your relationships. Create conversation where you're talking about other things than him that cause you to feel frustrated or angry or that you hate or that you're disappointed about, or you feel sad about something, or you feel afraid about something, are concerned and you're worried, or you feel embarrassed. That's a very powerful emotion to reveal to a man. He'll like you more. You just have to be more vulnerable. This was the whole idea of in prehistoric times, a woman was never to be show stronger or smarter than a man. He'd be attracted to you. Well, why was that so? Because then he felt like I had something to offer you. It's not like a big ego trip. It's, I want to feel like I have a job here. If you don't need me, well, I'll find somebody else who needs me. You don't have to push yourself down now, because women can do everything. You're brilliant and smart and capable and confident and all that great stuff. We know all that. You've gone to your male side. So your female side is what you have to work on, which is sharing the emotional part of you that you kind of outgrew by becoming masculine. What if things are bothering you, you use male test strategies like, it's no big deal. I'm not going to worry about it. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, that's life. That's what you have to do. See, these are all strategies to increase testosterone. They don't increase estrogen. And for women, you need 10 times more estrogen, and even just to keep stress levels low. And you need 20 times more estrogen in the presence of a man to feel emotionally attached and attracted to him, or positively aroused by him. Okay, that's your estrogen going up. You want to feel I can be turned on by this guy. It's literally when the hormones change, you put on a different pair of glasses. You can't, you see right now, I can see you. These are my other glasses and they're dark glasses. I can, it's a whole different view. We do not have, you can't just suddenly, your glasses change depending upon what hormones you're producing in that moment. And our brain tries to scramble and give justifications for it, find reasons for it. But no, you just don't see the beauty that's there. It's all about finding this hormonal imbalance, and having a significant other can become a tool to bring your hormones to a very special level of highest love, just to feel completely selfless and devoted and feel someone is that way for you, and to feel completely safe in the presence of another and to feel dedicated to them. These are such beautiful, beautiful feelings that I can't have for everybody, to be able to feel that, somebody loves me more than anybody else, and I love her more than anybody else. And that increasing love, you kind of go, how could you love just one person more than everybody else? Because they're all lovable, right? In some way. You build the love, you build the bond over time. You see, this is something you create. You start out with the potentials there, but then you build it through life experiences of prioritizing each other's needs over your own. You see, you take care of your own needs and your self-love, but in your relationship, the concern is, how am I providing for my partner what they're needing to feel good? And what can I help them, if you're a woman, do for me so I'll feel good? Because we don't know. This is where you have to always let men know. What I would really like next weekend is for you to pick from these 3 things. And that would make me very happy. Okay, here's 3 things I like you to pick. And then another time where a man is starting to escalate. Remember those, go back to those moments, and he's escalating. What made it go further is you continued talking. So what do? You basically walk into another room. And if you're in counseling, there's not a man that I've ever counseled, and I've counseled so many, who won't agree to like a safe word. The safe word would be where she says, you're being a bully, or you're being mean, or too loud, and then walking away. You agree upon a safe word, which says, this is our de-escalation word, which she says to him. Now, it doesn't work for me to say to a woman, she's being a bully or she's being negative, whatever. What it works for a man to say is, I need time to think about this. And he walks away. I need time to think about this and then walk away. Because at those times, you see, it's literally like if you're addicted to, like for me, I have an addiction towards ice cream. If I have ice cream in the freezer, there'll be times I'll just go and eat a whole bunch. Okay. So I just don't have it in my house. All right. That's as simple as that. If it's at a restaurant, it's okay. I can have a little, they'll give me a little bit. That's good. I won't order it again because everybody's around looking at me. But if I'm at home at 11 o'clock at night, no, and I'm eating
the old spoon.
Yeah, so it's very, very hard to stop, right? Well, give ourselves a break. When you start to escalate, it's very, very hard to stop. And that's why we need teaching. We need a message for women to know that if you get men to talk more when they're upset, they only become more and more upset. See, she doesn't know how she contributed because she thought, I'll listen to you. Well, what are you saying? Well, how are you saying that? Well, I feel this. Why aren't you listening? It just compounds. It doesn't matter if you talk. Just talking with a man, once he's upset, will just make him become somebody other than who he is.